In this video, we're going to show you everything you need to know in order to properly set up and connect the Rode Podmic with your Rode Rodecaster Pro 2 audio mixer. We're going to show you everything you need, the things you don't need, and give you the best tips and tricks along the way that we know to help you have the best success possible. Now, first of all, if you are looking for pricing or specs for anything that you see in this video, we do have links down in the description below where you can find current up-to-date pricing from a variety of online retailers to make sure that you're getting the best price possible. Second of all, right now you are listening to the Rode NT1. There's a logo up in the top corner. Once we plug in and connect the Rode Podmic, that'll switch to a picture of the Podmic, just so you know which mic you're listening to. And lastly, we're going to talk a lot about what you need in order to set up this microphone, but what you don't need is an inline preamp of any type. In the previous version of the Rodecaster Pro, you did need a mic booster for the Rode Podmic. That's no longer the case. This does require quite a bit of gain, but the preamps in the Rodecaster Pro 2 are powerful enough to give you clean gain for this microphone. Next, when you first buy the Rode Podmic, you get the Rode Podmic. That's it. Nothing else comes with it. So first of all, we're going to need a stand. As far as I'm concerned, you have two options for a stand for the Rode Podmic. The first is a simple table stand. I used these for probably 10 years. They're super inexpensive. They're small, they're portable. You can unscrew it and pack it flat if you need to put it in a backpack or something like that. They're really great. The two things I don't like about them is that any taps on the table come right through the stand into the microphone. There's no sound isolation. The Rode Podmic doesn't also have a lot of sound isolation, so that is a little bit of a problem. And the second issue with these is that it often competes with the same real estate as your mixer, your laptop, your notes, whatever else you're doing in front of you, because it does have to be on the table. The solution to that is something like the Rode PSA 1 Plus. This is an awesome boom arm. I'm going to show you why I love it so much once I get this microphone screwed onto it. The Rode Podmic is quite heavy, so you need a strong boom arm that doesn't wiggle or move around on you. Not only does this boom arm provide sound isolation, it has neoprene on it, it's stuffed with another material to take all those taps so they don't come through the stand into your microphone, but it can support the Rode Podmic at any height or any angle, and it doesn't move on you. It just stays exactly where you leave it. Other stands in this category, you need to crank them down, or you need tools, or you're always loosening or tightening or fidgeting with it. You don't have to do any of that with the Rode PSA 1 Plus, which is awesome. Once you have it on a stand, you need some type of an XLR cable in order to connect this microphone to the audio mixer. You can see here I have the Canary Star Quad XLR cable. It has black connectors. You can get it in a variety of colors. Inside the cable has the Star Quad design like I mentioned, but it's still quite flexible, which is really nice. They're my favorite cables to use right now. So we can connect this to the back of the microphone. Then you always want to run your cable nice and neat, so we're going to run it down the boom arm here. It's another nice thing about the PSA 1 Plus is the built-in cable management is nice and easy to use. It looks good. Then we can connect the other end of this XLR cable into our audio mixer. So that's plugged into input 1 there is the white cable that goes to the Podmic, and the red cable there is going to the Rode NT1 condenser microphone. Next, before we get into the audio mixer and the best settings for this microphone, we need to quickly talk about mic placement. For the Rode Podmic, you want it within a fist of your mouth, and you want it just slightly off axis. You don't want it right in front of your mouth. It is susceptible to things like plosives. We're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. But having it off axis like this is ideal, within about a fist of your mouth for the best result. Next, let's go to the Rodecaster Pro 2 and select the first channel where we connected the Rode Podmic. By default, this is set to dynamic, so we're going to scroll until we see the Rode Podmic. Next, we need to set the level on this microphone. Right now it says the level is 50 dB, and when I speak into the microphone, you can see I'm right on the lower end of where that sweet spot is, that green bar. That's absolutely perfect. You really don't want to be too much higher than this. At your loudest moment, you don't want to be in the red or peaking. So for me, when I speak regularly, I like to see it just enter the bottom third of that sweet spot there, and that's how you know it's set correctly. I'm going to turn post-processing off, and then I'm going to bring the fader up so you can hear it. So this is what the Rode Podmic sounds like with no post-processing on. We've just set the level. This is what the natural microphone sounds like, completely unprocessed when it's plugged into the Rodecaster Pro 2. Next, let's take a look at some of the processing that's built into this microphone. If we turn it on here, we can go to presets, then we can go to neutral. Neutral is a pretty conservative setting. There is a little bit of EQ still in it, some de-essing, some compression, but it's all pretty dialed back. It's not super noticeable. It's just a slight enhancement for you. Next, we have the podcast studio where those settings get quite a bit more aggressive. You can tell it comes in now. It's quite a bit more solid sounding. You can hear the compression in there. And next, we have broadcast. Broadcast is more of the same. It just kind of keeps going further. I like the podcast studio. It's a nice balance between the neutral and the broadcast for me. And I really do think that 95% of people should be picking from this bucket of presets. This is one advantage that the Rodecaster Pro 2 has above other mixers in this category. For me, I think the mixer like the Tascam and other ones in this category, they're quite technical. You actually have to understand audio in order to get a good sound. The beauty of the Rodecaster Pro is that they've tastefully put in some nice presets here that I think the majority of people should stick with. Okay, so we're going to exit out of the preset area, and I'm just going to quickly show you that you can, if you wish, if you are more technical, you can go into the advanced tab here and you can change things like the high pass filter, the de-esser, the compressor, the panning, the EQ, all types of stuff in here. There's 8 different variables for you to play with, but I don't think most people need to do that. Okay, so next we need to talk about an optional foam windscreen. So far, the Rode Podmic does sound pretty good. It hasn't given too many plosives, but I'm going to speak into the microphone now so you can understand why I recommend an optional third-party foam windscreen for it. If you say P or B sounds, you can hear that P, P, P. The diaphragm of the microphone actually blows out. They say that there's built-in plosive protection in the Rode Podmic. It's not that good. So if you want to prevent that, and I think it's worth it for the money, these things are a couple bucks, get a foam windscreen. We do have some links down in the description below. I think it actually helps the Rode Podmic look better, and it'll help it sound better. I'm going to put it on now. Okay, so now we have the foam windscreen on the Rode Podmic. You can see that it looks all black. To me, it looks nicer. Now I'm going to speak into the microphone with those P and B sounds and see if we can get it to do the same thing. P, B, P, B, P, B. There was one plosive in there that I heard, but it was less noticeable than it was before, and the rest were all fine. So I think that's a really nice upgrade for a couple dollars. It makes a microphone more consistent on your recording and is well worth the money. The only other thing that you need to consider with this package is probably a nice set of headphones. For me, I like using the Beyerdynamic DT 990 Pros or the 770 Pros if you like the closed back. The 990 Pros are open back, so they're really comfortable. They're lightweight and they sound fantastic. Rode does have their own headphones that they just released, the NTH 100s. They sound pretty good as well. They're quite heavy, so I don't like wearing them for too long of a time, but they are nice as well. If you have any other questions about this setup and the things that we recommend doing to set up the Rode Podmic, just leave a comment down in the comment section below. Again, if you are looking for pricing or specs for anything that you see here, we have links down in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.